Nick!
Oh, yeah!
Wow.
We're not accepting delivery of this one. Take it back. I can't believe how horrendous this car is. Thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah, I would take that.
This is my 1999 Fiat Multipla. It is quite possibly the ugliest car ever made.
If you simply Google ugliest cars and go to Google
people,
Images,
I
the first
really
car is the Multipla.
I really
deserve
The
it.
third one is too.
I'm just crazy enough to import this car, in which it cost almost as much to ship it and import it as it did to actually purchase the car. But I'm so pumped, and I think it is so worth it because this car is just absolutely magical and provides an experience nothing else for sale in the United States does. It seats 3 in the front, 3 in the back, tons of headroom, tons of legroom. It's incredibly fuel efficient with a 1.9 liter diesel motor. It has a Carrera GT style shifter right on the dash and so much more. So if you want to win cars and coffee, there's no better solution than this. And frankly, the Mercy Multipla is maybe the ultimate Italian 2-car garage. You got your family, practical daily driver, and then you have your raw, unadulterated, exotic car for the weekends. I am so pumped that this is my garage, and I can't wait to dig in. So tune in, because we're gonna go over what it took to import this, what's all broken and how on earth we're gonna fix it. We're gonna do some fun content collabs with Doug DeMuro and the Cars and Bids crew and their newly imported Audi A2, and so much more. First, let's start with the tour of the car. It is often known as the platypus for its weird design up front. 2 low beam headlights, 2 high beam headlights up on that upper rack, and the fog lights for a total of 6 what appears to be similar shaped headlights.
Oh wow, that's a duck-billed platypus. Zoom in on that with the front end and the eyes where the lights are. It really, legitimately
It looks like, I've always called it a platypus because it is.
God created the platypus for a reason.
And then this bar up here is really what accentuates it and makes it look like 2 cars morphed onto one. The whole upper and lower roof line continues through the back here with its bulbous design. But I love the blue interior and best of all, the middle bench seat. This is something that probably wasn't even legal in America, but made it so great. And as you can see here, the floor is almost completely flat in terms of the transmission tunnel like an EV. So you've got plenty of legroom too. It's surprisingly useful in terms of legroom and headroom, even in what would normally be a cramped middle seat. We've got 3 more seats in the back there, very comfortable with tons and tons of headroom. It's actually pretty small. You can see the roof line here is not that high. And then from the back, it's equally as ugly as the front. The tail does open to a decent amount of storage. And then more from the front here of just how weird that interior is. So as if the green wasn't bad enough, they put a blue interior, and the blue interior was available in most colors on the exterior. So blue was really a thing that Fiat decided this car needed.
Oh, no, I'm not in the group yet. No, I'm afraid I just blew myself. There's got to be a better way to say that.
Underneath, it's got a 1.9 liter diesel engine. I am told this is the one you want. So what possessed me to buy such a stupid, ugly, dumb car? Well, in one word, Filippo. Filippo from Cars and Bids has been talking about the Multipla ever since I met him years ago. It was about the first thing he ever mentioned about himself and all he ever really brings up when we're talking about quirky or weird cars.
It's such an excellent vehicle that it can accept being styled
but
for
we can make
practicality.
fun of it.
A little tall, it's a little weird, but it does not mean that it's ugly. It just means that it looks purposeful. Multipla is a vehicle that is just eminently practical. God created the platypus for a reason. Achieving that level of engineering excellence and not sacrificing the practicality, the excellentness, the engineering for the sake of design and trying to appeal to the mass market
but you can still make fun of it.
decision I want to support, and therefore I don't want to make fun of it because I don't want to dissuade others from doing it.
I asked Nick about it. I was like, you know, what made you do it? He was like, I just could tell that Filippo was just going to talk about it forever and someone just needed to do it.
After hearing it repeated by him so many times, I looked it up and said, hey, Top Gear says it's the ugliest car. And as far as I can tell, no one's ever gone through the trouble of importing one to the US. There's one in the Lane Motor Museum, which Doug reviewed, and there's a few in Canada that I know of, but it just became 25 years old, which is the minimum to import it. And because it's not a nice car and not really like what you want to put through months of effort to import, very few people have gone through this trouble. Now I still have to get it registered and have all the paperwork ironed out, but it's insured and it's here legally and customs let me take it from the port. So I'm like 85% of the way there and 15% sure I'll get the rest of the way there. Furthermore, whenever I get a project vehicle, I like to find something that the whole family can have fun in. And the Arnage fit that bill, the P38 fit that bill, the Quattroporte fit that bill. They were all four-door cars that you could throw a car seat in. Maybe they're not the safest option in the world since they're old, but they were reasonable commuters and dailies. And so that is absolutely where the Multipla shines. It's not fast, it's not flashy in a traditional sense, but I will be able to fit someone right next to me right here, just imagine, and all of their stuff and all of my kids and my 2 dogs. So it's going to be incredibly, incredibly practical and useful over the next 6 to 12 months before I inevitably sell it. This is the life right here. Crunchwrap Supreme, Fiat Multipla, rolling our own gears, across from a Volkswagen dealership, and a relax the back. It also fulfills another need of mine, which is another manual transmission car, which I'm incredibly pumped on. And it's the first ever diesel I bought. How many people do you know that can say their first diesel was a Fiat Multipla? Unless you're in Europe, of course, then that's probably a pretty normal thing to say. I gotta say, this thing is pretty easy to drive too. Like, it shifts nice, it drives nice, it gets in and out, it's pretty small. Got a little stain there. Uh-oh, gotta shift, hold on, bye. So what is it like to import a car like this to the United States? Well, it's not as hard as it sounds, but it's also not easy. I worked with a importer called Inbound Motorsports. They've sold a lot of cars on Cars and Bids, and his counterpart in Germany, Dutch Munich. And together I said, all right, here's the brief of what I'm looking for. I want it to be a Multipla. I'd like it to be in the ugliest color possible, which of course is green. I need it to be in decent shape, not rusted out. I want it below 200,000 kilometers, et cetera, et cetera. Then I gave them a budget. And I said, ideally, I want to spend less than $15,000 landed for the car. So they started looking, and well, it's a little tricky to find one that hit all of those criteria. You can certainly find them cheaper than 10 grand or even less than 5 grand, but those are going to be really beat up examples. There was also a lot that have just been like modified, or they're boring colors, or people tried to make them less ugly. So finding one that was green and rust-free was actually the real tricky part. We got a PPI in a different car, and when the person went there to inspect it, they could literally bend the frame, it was so rusty. And a handful of other cars I found, also you could just see rust in the pictures and it wasn't worth pursuing. So this one came along. Yeah, she needs a little body work. The colors of green you could see here aren't a great match between this panel, this panel, this panel, and even this panel I see some bubbling. And I filled up the power steering, of which it's already leaked down below the min level, and you can see a little here. There was also some black fluid leaking down below earlier that came from this side. Another initial issue with it is that this doesn't work, and I have no idea how that possibly happened. But what you wouldn't believe is that this is actually the nicest one I could find in months and months of searching. It needs some TLC, but those are all things that are fixable. The car was all here. It doesn't have aftermarket wheels or a body kit. It has good bones, as we like to call it. We agreed to a price of $75,000 for the car, and that included basically the purchase price only. From there, we had to ship it using Ro-Ro shipping, pay duties and taxes. I had to pay the mediators inbound in them. So it ended up being $13,150, give or take, fully landed on the shores. When it got here, I also had to pay an escort service, they call it, and those are their words, not mine, an extra $100 to just basically drive it from the shipping container outside of the secure clearance area. All right, let me, I think you said 75 a car, and then the rest is just a tip.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, keys are set. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
And we can just drive out of here?
That's it. You're good. Once the cars are out here, that's good. Wow.
All in, I'm in it, let's call it $13,300, fully landed in here. I still have to get it registered, and I'm gonna go through Montana, but really it just took 6 months, of which 4 months was finding the right car. About a month and a half was it literally like cruising across the Atlantic Ocean and then through Panama and up to California. So about a month and a half of shipping, and then a couple weeks of just like BS going back and forth on paperwork and so on. So really 2 months once we found the car, and about 4 months to find the right car. Not terrible, and also $13,000 for a fun beater car. It's probably worth less than half of that in Europe, and all the Europeans watching this are gonna laugh at someone paying $13,000 US for a car like this, but I'm happy, and I actually think that's like an incredibly great value for what you're getting. You are gonna win Cars and Coffee. I'm going to take this to Radwood. We're going to create content of it. And I really do think when I go to sell this on Cars and Bids with no reserve, someone will pay at least 13 grand for this experience, knowing it's one of the first privately owned Multiplas in the United States. And it's the right spec. And if I learned anything from my yellow P38, always get the right spec. You get that money back in the end. So what's next in this series? Well, I'm on the way right now to get a VIN inspection, which is just a fancy way of saying that this car is not like it matches what it says it's supposed to in the title, and it wasn't like illegally imported or being falsely represented. So VIN inspection, and then I got to get the title translated. There's about 5 different documents you have to get together. And then once you have all those, I can send it off for a license plate. And then I can drive this a little bit more legally than I would say I am right now. Beyond that, we've got a lot of fun stuff planned. So we're going to do a little mini series with the Cars and Bids crew in the Audi A2. The tentative idea is to see how the European cars fare in the American streets. So there'll be some fun challenges and quirks and all of that stuff. Stay tuned for that. I want to take it to as many car shows as I can, just to like share this weirdness with everyone possible. So, oh yeah, not a 6-speed, 5-speed. So I want to take it to like Radwood. There's a big SoCal Euro this weekend I'm going to try to bring it to. So hopefully you'll see it around as soon as it's plated in a SoCal hangout near you. I'd love to get some other folks. If you're interested in a collab, hit me up in the comments if you want to come to San Diego and drive this, or you're even crazier and want to pay to ship it wherever the heck you are. But anyone who's ever wanted to drive a Multipla, we can have some fun. I want to see if we can fit 6 people in here and do some car spotting. So buckle up, stay tuned. Thanks for all the comments and shares and likes so far. I'm very new to this YouTubing thing, even more new to iMovie and editing. Been some great feedback on that as well. I'm having a blast. This is so fun. And now I'm driving a Fiat Multipla on an American freeway, which is very, very cool. So thanks so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for next week's episode. I'm a little speechless, Kenan.
Let's step back for a second. I want to really drink it in.
Thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah.
I told my wife that
There are your hubcaps.
to sell this to her that we could cuddle in the front seat since it's 3 across. But
Right.
I have a feeling when she sees this, she won't get anywhere near it. This must have been owned by Wolverine. This is way worse than I was expecting. Look, it looks a little scuffed. I think I just take it all off. I take it back that this and the Murcielago have equal levels of stoke for delivery day.
I would take that back too. It's God, it is such a shape.
I mean, it'll be unique, but it doesn't, like some cars, they don't photograph well, then you're like, oh, it looks way better in person, like a lot of the new Ferraris, frankly. This is the opposite. It's way worse in person.
It's
Hard to quantify.
horrendous. Yeah.
Good at whistling diesel durability check.
Yep. That's good for it now. You
Solid.
only have to drive home in it now.
Well, I mean, the door's not going to fall off.
No, you can share. Wow.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
Have you imported many of these before?
No.
No.
This is the first. This is
Yeah.
the first. First of, I suspect, not many.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
Who do you think will win in a race?
This would last longer. It's diesel.
Yeah,
That's
we're
for
going to line them up right
Yeah,
here.
you guys should. You guys should.
It's like Fast and the Furious at the very end, they jump over the water. That's what